Okay, good night to thought until the first I shut my screen. Okay, the first is enough. Hello to Thor and Birds. My name is Leslie. I today announce or today I'm going to explain about my thesis defense oral about my daily sheets. It is try to explain how to the process, how to develop and the deeds project, the district sheet, with the group or in the institutions Antonio Lenis. The first my group is only I to the good number one. It is the code Reshit's project. The tutor is Norma Suleiman. Okay, this is the Reshit's project. It's using task based learning to overcome seven great difficulties in English reading caused by lack of vocabulary. This is my project. This is my receipt when I do working with the students in the practice when I do the process to developing my practice. Okay, so the first is this. It is the data sheet. It is the first when I mentioned the title or my research project. It's using task-based learning. It is the focus, the method to overcome seventh grades because it is difficult in English readings because by lack vocabulary. This is the limit vocabulary, right? The type of paper is Rashid's project. Okay, sorry, let me check. Okay, yes, continue. Okay, okay. The type of paper is Rashid's project. Rashid's line is the method when I to try to developing with the student because I try to innovate to the readings and the vocabulary. Rashid line it starts by learning TBL author mind my person Leslie Caldera Huelvas. Okay, this is a advisor. It is my tutor. It is try to ask or to questions about the process when I to developing the different sheets. The keyword when I to try to look it or share it with my receipt project it's task-based learning, vocabulary, read it in English because it is the focus when I to develop and teach receipt. Okay? Okay, let me check this. The first problem is staying on receipt question. The first I try to explain about the context. The first it is the problem is to the counter in the institutions. It is the institution called Antonio Lenis. It is the Cincelejo Sucre. I developing with the student to the seventh grade. It is the student is the 11 at 13 at 58. The student is the context. The student is it is participation. The student is trying to motivate within class, but the problem is the students is the limits to the participation because the tutor or the teacher is not developing to the practice or the lesson more dynamic. The activity is the traditional, it is the classroom traditional. It is the student to developing the worksheet and try to cope and write with the book only. It is the problem. It is the problem when I do the witness or log in reading when I do construction or try to express a sentence or text in English, right? It is the very problem because it is the lack, it is a difficult lack, innovate and didactic vocabulary. The teacher is not innovative. Institution is to the internet, it is the teacher, the student book, the asset when I did to try to innovate the student, but the tutor is no practice, is no method for the activity, it's more dynamic. For example, using the ICT or gamification, the institution is not to excite with this with the a tutor. For this reason, when I to looking for this problem, it is the student is not reading or try to reading at the sentence long or text or phrase or express in English, speak to English. No, it is the problem because the vocabulary is it is the lack. Okay, the other problem in the context is the teaching. The teaching is not the institution is the recreational space. It is try to develop any computer room, a library, reading room, and courts. But the teacher is not try to developing or try to developing the environment for the class. It's more dynamic. It's more for this reason, it is that this problem stands. Okay, when I do the question for this problem, it's how does the use vocabulary focus learning activities improve seventh grade student English readings? Right? It is to try to when I use to the task-based learning. This is my focus. This is my focus when I to try to implement or innovate to the games, the activities more dynamic, but only focus in reading and vocabulary. It is try to the activities thereafter. This is the table. It is the formation of table from the analysis of each student response. I applicate, do an interview and the 30 and the 30 35 students, but I for the analysis on the read to the answer. This is the table. This is the information. This is the more comments the answer when I try to the response to the interview. For example, this is the main category, the number of students, and the approximates. It is the percents. For example, the difficult remember vocabulary, it is 20 students. Approximately 27% when I do the difficult remember the vocabulary, a problem organizing the sentence if the student is not construction the short sentence. It is very confused when I do the grammar rules or when I do the remember it, the vocabulary. This is the problem because the student is not construction sentence because the vocabulary is locked. They express frustration. Yeah, it is frustrations. It is a little sad. It is not try to participate in class because it is not. And the other is a nervous because it is the obtain the note or the grades, but the student it's more frustration out on a little sad or only anything. Okay. And now this is my objective, and the general and specific. The general objective is to try to analyze how to the method task-based learning activities, the different activities. It is try to participate in the table or try to develop an activity and thereafter to task, they review the tasks and feedback. You try to look for the oceans. The general object for me is to analyze how to the task-based learning is focused on vocabulary. Yes, my focus is vocabulary because it is trying to building to improve in English reading skill. And the Antonio Lenin's educational institution. Yes, it is my general audience. Try to improve, try to innovate to the reading skill with the vocabulary. A specific object is the first. It is equal student face to face in English reading skill. It is to try to the difficult, it is to try to the line. And to describe a student's perception, yes, it's very important because it is try to know the two concepts, the face to face and the students. When I use to the TDL, activities associated strategic vocabulary learning. The other or the finally points to a specific object is to explore the impact because it's to try the first it identify the after to try to develop in the activities more dynamic and the after to explore or analyze to the reactions when I to apply the task-based learning. For improving English reading skill, the pedagogical interview decide to promote shared skill. Yes, it is my own. It is try to know the sorry. It is try to know the before, the process, and the after when I to apply these methods. Theoretical framework. This is very important because it is try to know when I to try to investigation this process, when I to try to investigation or receive to the other countries, right? It is the hard process because it's try to argument, it's try to validate my arguments, right? The first, it is this is the receipt. The first, it is developing three aspects or three sheets. The first it is the international, the national, and local. This is in my city. The first, oh, sorry, the first this is the theoretical framework. It is shown by to implement new teaching method styles, try to validate or argument it my task-based learning when I to apply in this institution, right? The first, it is the district sheet. This is the process when I to investigate my receipt in the other countries, right on the other city. The first is looking for the in Vietnam. This is the receipt who point honors and geode. It is to show the distributed task allowed a student not only produce tests, email, sentence, breaks, but it is also learned how to receive and give a feedback. This is the process when I do apply with the methods. It is the before in process when I do the this. The student is more. It is with more. It is improve more the activities. It is maybe to write a sentence, routines, when I do write the emails or in the comments. And after the post test, the student is respond. The student is finished respond a more advanced. When I do the respond and email, it's more advanced. And my country, in Colombia, is looking for the studio in the Valle del Cauca, right? This is the Rashid Lady Andiana in el Valle del Cauca. It is demonstrate that in the any urban or rural area, it is no problem. Important is how to the teacher the pedagogical strategies when it implement the students. That in applying any innovative didactic, such as CBL, the potential of this teaching approach to the close educational gaps and enrich language instruction in environment with a limited result. Yeah. The more important the deeds receipt is to show the potential when I to apply the first plans, the after analysis and observes with the reaction the students and the after reflects, try to the provide a feedback or the construction of more the activities. This is the Indian nationality because this is the my city. It is the Antonio Leni. I explained that the this is the playing the problem, right? Okay, this is the student seventh grade. Okay, this. Okay, method of okay method and ethical consideration. This is the methodology. The first, it is the component when I do try to extract my research, and this is the discretion, and this is the focus my student. The first, it is type of student. My investigation or my research proposal to the task-based learning, it is the quality, it is the only described, right? It is the understanding, reactions, experience, challenge when I to apply these methods. In my student, yes, my it is analyze the attitudes, the reaction when I to apply the TVL activities. The quality conduct use, the pedagogy, the more important is to experience it with the students. The case students is a specific growth when I to the seventh grade. Ethnographic, sorry, it is the school practice when I to develop in my practice, my day. The narrative is educational stories. Yet it's focusing the school, and the action receipts. It is the cycle diagnostic action reflects. Yes, when I do the mention, is the before, in process, and the after. And the temporally, it is the specific point when I to the development that it's practice. Future of the cross sessional design. It is more focused, is more compared to the before, when I the after. A limitation, when the very important my limitation is not try to more time for applicate more activities based the task based learning. Okay, when I took the process, when I took the developing this sheet, I consider this ethical because the first I consider privacy when I to the student participation, the answer in the interview is very important. Explain the process. I try to explain with the photos because how to respond the interview for what developing the sheet in my the university not right. It is the confidentiality. It is to try to private or the need of participation. It's very important when I did this process because the student is to answer your opinion. And this is the voluntary participation. Yet it is not try to stress, it is not try to pursue the student. No, the student, the seventh grade in the Antonio learning, it's participate with me. And the final is demonstrated transparency and the methodology using it is explain how to the process. Okay, this part is data analysis process. Okay, the first process, the study is the discover categories. The first is data transcriptions. It is the recording interviews or the photos. It's try to ensure the fidelity, right? It is try to the student is participant or comment the interview. The categorization is the similar coding will be reflects the automatic category. Yet, it's try to find the student comments in order to verify the perception splits. It try to show the student all the process. And the coding in this part is to fragment to identify the coded when I use to the software Atlas. Yes, Atlas. It is to interpret the analysis and interpretation the whole to the this process. And thereafter is the interpretation. This is the final process when I to try to discuss and conclusion when I do this. This is the Reshit project. Okay, sorry, my internet is a little slow. And this is the conclusion. This try to the objective is my objective. It is the correspond and the answer to the question and they analyze on the conclusion my method how to the task-based learning. It is influencing the good or not good or it is the better or not better. We'll try to continue with the feedback, right? Okay. This is important for me because it is the key finds and thematic theory. The first, I try to show that this table because this is the result before and the after. It is show the students, eating students, this is the egg and the role student, and this is the relevant observation. This is the result before and the student when I do the after, when I do implement the task-based learning method. This is the sample, the difficult remember the vocabulary. This is the before when I to apply the interview and the after and the after applicate sorry and the after applicate the methods. It is easier to remember when I having a reserved vocabulary. For example, the other problem organize the sentence. The after is low initial. Yes, it is the low initial, but it is the continue the process. Confusion, yes, is very important because it is more confusing the grammar rule when I to try to use the vocabulary in this part, in this part, in this part. And thereafter, it's more active participation in the class. express frustrations if the after is improved with the support or a guide task, is try to more participate. It is showed insecurity, but the after is improved. It is with the group activities, more the student is more participating in group, the only on the when I to developing the exercise in the table, the student is more participate. Need support to use the vocabulary in context, sorry. Thereafter, it can match with the new vocabulary. Difficulty reading, good oral performance, because when I do participate in the class or improve more the vocabulary, the student is more improved due to the speaking, the oral. Initial desmotivation, it is more shown great in the methods, limited vocabulary, thereafter is showed progression in communicative tasks is the speaking. For total organization, thereafter it respond well to the work and answer it when I reading. It is the other problem when I to the start. Thereafter it is improved step by step activity. It is not the student is not in there fast. No, the student is slow. It is slow but step by step. This is the example when I to the obtained when I use to the software Atlas when I to provide this result when I to analyze these results. For example, this is the sample when I do the developing these methods. The first my object is to analyze the influence to the task-based learning methods on vocabulary. My category, the first is vocabulary. It's try to improve more vocabulary. For example, before implement, it is example the student, like the food, my mom cook rice and chicken. It is the only limited. But when I do the after implementation, the task-based learning, this is I obtain for the student. I like the food my mom cooks because it is delicious and very well prepared. She usually makes fries with chicken, so it's chicken, and it is my favorite meal. This is the when I do the other change or when I do the different aspect, the before and the after in the vocabulary. In the reading, for example, my house is small. I love my dog. I like to play. This is the before when I do a implemented the task-based learning. And thereafter, my work, sorry, my house is small, but it is very comfortable. I have a brown dog. I like to play with him on the afternoon. It is the step by step. It is the process. Continue with the process. And then finally, this is the perceptions. It is to explore more the opinion or comment with the students. For example, English is hard for me. It is the same. I don't know many words. I feel nervous when I write. This is the before answer or the opinion about the student when I do ask for the question, how do you feel or what is your level English? And thereafter when I do implementate the task-based learning, I feel more confident because the task help me remember the new vocabulary. When we work in groups, I learn new words. I can write better sentences. This is my can fun when I supplicate this method. Okay, the correct font is continuing to feedback, continue to innovate to the method, or it is to the pedagogical strategy, gamification, but they only focus in the problem. What is my problem? The vocabulary and readings. The first I to prepare to the vocabulary comments. Vocabulary is to try to motivate or participate the students, right? In the I might focus in the eight, and thereafter to apply the worksheet on when I use to the IA, the ICT, sorry, and the technology. I try to looking for the video, or I use to the ICT, for example, Kahoot, Wizard, Generate, or Worksheet, or Worksheet Lib. It is the college. I don't remember this, but I try to innovate. But the only for the focus in my program. Okay, thereafter this is the implication or limitation limitation. The implication is to try to demonstrate the important to innovate in the institution, right? To try to demonstrate to the teacher in there or implement more the more methods. For example, the task-based learning. And the limitation, more important the time because I don't know the long time for apply the different activities. It is more limitation for me. Okay, sorry, my internet is slow. And the future sheet And the future sheet is try to examine or is try to resheet to innovate different methods or try to apply the deeds in the university, in the in the university on the only environment, try to uh, implement it, yes, or try to compare it to the task learning with the other instructional or with the other method or explore, yeah, for me, explore how to the tool can change task-based reading activities. Yes, try to explore to implement these methods in the online, right? I try to investigate how to the task-based learning influence other language. It is a skill, for example, is the speaking, listening. It is not only reading, right? They only try to innovate. Okay, the final conclusion is this sheet is demonstrate the task learning is to the is was able to improve the English readings. When I to the limited the vocabulario, it is the students show the progress, the opinion, the before, the process, and the after. It is it is the it's very important is to try to innovate. Very important is the organization. It is the plan, the lesson plan. It is the implemented by the day by day, right? This is the discussion and conclusions, right? It is to try to evidence with the interview and the reading example show the type of learning is the in the content, the real communicate, demonstrate them. This is the sheet is to improve, right? It's the abilities to the students is to try more the innovate, right? Okay, this is the reference when I used to the this sheet. So thank you so much. Bye bye.